In the heart of a mighty ancient kingdom, where gold glittered and power echoed through marble halls, a simple boy made a choice so subtle, so quiet, that no one saw its brilliance at first. He chose silver over gold, not once, not twice, but over and over again. Laughter followed him. Mockery surrounded him. Even the wisest ministers couldn't understand. Was he foolish? Was he naive? But what if the greatest wisdom lies in what the world overlooks? What if this boy's choice was not a mistake, but a message? This is not just the story of a boy and a coin. It is a story of patience, foresight, and a silent lesson that changed an entire kingdom. Stay with us as we unfold a tale that will challenge what you value, awaken what you've forgotten, and reveal the hidden power of quiet choices. The grand hall of the royal palace buzzed with activity. Nobles adorned in luxurious garments discussed politics and power, their voices echoing off the marble walls. At the center, the king sat on his ornate throne, exuding authority. Beside him stood the minister, a man of humble demeanor but profound wisdom. While others sought attention, the minister observed silently, his eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that set him apart. In the privacy of his chambers, the king expressed his concerns to the minister. "Your son puzzles me," he began. "Each morning, I present him with a choice between gold and silver coins. He consistently chooses silver, claiming it's more valuable. The court finds it amusing, but I worry about his judgment." The minister listened intently, his mind racing with questions about his son's behavior. Word of the prince's choices spread quickly. Courtiers chuckled, sharing tales of the boy who valued silver over gold. Some saw it as youthful innocence. Others whispered about potential folly. The minister, however, remained contemplative, determined to understand his son's reasoning. That evening, the minister approached his son in their modest quarters. "Son," he inquired gently, "which is more valuable, gold or silver?" Without hesitation, the boy replied, "Gold, of course." The minister, puzzled, asked, "Then why tell the king otherwise?" The boy looked up, his eyes gleaming with insight, ready to share his perspective. "Father," the boy began, "each day the king offers me a choice between a gold coin and a silver one. If I choose gold, the game ends. But by choosing silver, I continue the interaction, accumulating wealth over time. It's not about immediate gain, but understanding the value of patience and consistency." The minister nodded, recognizing the depth of his son's wisdom. The minister reflected on his son's strategy. In a world driven by immediate gratification, the boy had grasped the essence of delayed rewards. His actions, though misunderstood by many, showcased a profound understanding of human behavior and the benefits of long-term thinking. Sitting alone, the minister pondered the lessons from his son. He realized that true wisdom often goes unrecognized, especially when it challenges conventional norms. His son's approach was a testament to the power of quiet strength and foresight. Despite the boy's consistent choices, the court's laughter persisted. They failed to see the strategy behind his actions, focusing instead on surface-level judgments. The minister, however, remained proud, understanding the depth of his son's decisions. Over time, the king's amusement turned to curiosity. He began to question the boy's motives, wondering if there was a deeper lesson to be learned. The consistent choice of silver hinted at a strategy that the king had yet to comprehend. One morning, the king observed the boy more closely. He noticed the calm demeanor, the thoughtful gaze, and the unwavering consistency. It became evident that the boy's actions were deliberate, prompting the king to reflect on his own perceptions of value and wisdom. In a moment of clarity, the king recognized the boy's strategy. By choosing silver, the boy ensured a continuous relationship with the king, emphasizing the importance of sustained interactions over fleeting gains. The king admired the boy's insight, realizing that true wisdom often lies beneath the surface. As seasons changed, the boy's approach remained consistent. His collection of silver coins grew, symbolizing the rewards of patience and strategy. The court's laughter faded, replaced by a growing respect for the young prince's wisdom. Years passed, and the boy matured into a thoughtful young man. His experiences shaped him, reinforcing the values of patience, observation, and strategic thinking. He became a beacon of wisdom, guiding others through his actions and decisions. On a pilgrimage, the young man visited a renowned temple. Inside, he encountered a sage who shared tales of ancient wisdom. They discussed the importance of understanding over appearance, reinforcing the lessons the young man had learned throughout his life. Returning home, the young man was welcomed with admiration. His reputation for wisdom had spread, and many sought his counsel. The court, once mocking, now looked to him for guidance, recognizing the depth of his understanding. The echoes of past laughter faded as the court acknowledged the young man's insights. His consistent choices and thoughtful actions had proven the value of patience and strategic thinking. Respect replaced ridicule. Back in their modest home, the minister quietly watched his son, now a composed young man, moving with the same calm wisdom he had always shown. As oil lamps flickered on carved wooden shelves and shadows danced on the clay walls, the minister leaned back, overwhelmed by emotion. In that silence, he saw the fruits of every lesson he'd ever taught, reflected not in grand gestures, but in his son's steady presence. He didn't need public praise or royal recognition. What mattered was this unspoken bond, a legacy of understanding, of character, and of purpose. Later that night, the son gently took his father's hand and led him into a quiet room at the back of their home. Wooden shelves lined the walls, filled with small trinkets, ancient scrolls, and handmade carvings. A single oil lamp lit the space with a golden hue. In the center sat a simple wooden box. With care and reverence, the son opened it, revealing dozens of neatly stacked silver coins, each one a silent marker of every deliberate choice he'd made. The glow of the coins wasn't just physical, it was symbolic, reflecting years of intention and insight. The minister's eyes widened. His usually reserved expression softened into one of awe. The flickering lamplight revealed the deep lines on his face, etched by years of duty, discipline, and reflection. He sat motionless, taking in the sight of the silver coins, but more importantly, what they represented. Each coin was a chapter in a quiet story of strategy and patience. It was a moment that transcended wealth, a moment of understanding, of being deeply, silently proud of the person his son had become. The next morning, the royal court was alive with conversation once again, but this time there was a shift in the air. The minister walked in, not alone, but with his son at his side. Murmurs spread across the hall, not of mockery, but curiosity and wonder. As the king looked upon them, his gaze changed. No longer filled with amusement or doubt, it now held something deeper: respect. The once ridiculed minister stood tall, not with defiance, but with calm dignity, beside the quiet strength of his son. The crowd sensed it, a shift in truth they could no longer deny. Later, in a temple of great renown, a symbolic scale rested on a stone pedestal. On one side, a single gold coin gleamed in the soft light. On the other, dozens of silver coins sat, quietly outweighing the gold. It was more than a visual. It was a philosophy made visible. Pilgrims came to witness it, not just for the marvel, but to remember the truth it represented, that what's flashy is not always most valuable, that consistency, thoughtfulness, and patience ultimately hold greater weight in the balance of life. One evening, as the sky turned to hues of lavender and rose, the king stood alone in the palace gardens, his hands clasped behind his back. He watched from a distance as the young man conversed quietly with palace guards and staff, never boastful, always kind. The king's eyes were contemplative. He now saw the boy not as the source of court amusement, but as a reflection of something he himself had missed in youth: restraint, foresight, and strength that spoke without speaking. Now, a young man fully grown, the son walked along a quiet forest path. The light of the morning filtered through the trees as birds sang overhead. A satchel hung from his shoulder, filled not just with coins, but with tools, scrolls, and items meant for helping others. In the distance, the mountain stood tall, like life's challenges, ever present but never insurmountable. His face remained calm. He didn't walk in search of greatness. He simply lived the wisdom he'd gathered, one quiet step at a time. The final image brings us full circle. The royal court, once filled with laughter and doubt, now holds silence as the minister and his son stand together. The nobles no longer mock. They watch, some with admiration, others with silent apology. The king meets their eyes and for the first time bows his head ever so slightly. The son does not gloat. He only smiles gently. The silence between them speaks louder than words. A lifetime of choices, misunderstood by many, had quietly built a truth no one could ignore. In a world chasing noise and speed, true strength lies in quiet choices. The boy didn't choose silver out of ignorance, but wisdom. Not all value shines bright at first, but the wisest choices endure. If this story moved you, share it with someone who values patience, and subscribe for more timeless tales.